you for using Global Tail Link.
Hello.
How are you?
Hi.
How you doing, Crystal?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Everything is all right. How's your day going?
It's going pretty good. I was feeling a little nauseous this morning. Some days are better than others. About 2 years ago, they diagnosed me with 2 autoimmune diseases. So, but I still try to get up and work out and stuff. But I feel pretty good.
Okay, but what kind of disease you said it was?
Autoimmune diseases. They diagnosed me with lupus first, and then I started having problems with like my muscles and like not being able to move after sleeping at night, trying to get out of bed. And they diagnosed me with a second autoimmune disease called mixed connective tissue disease. So it attacks my smooth muscles, so like my heart and my lungs and my organs. It's been pretty rough.
Okay, so what do you do? Exercise and stuff like that to try to suppress it?
Yeah, and I take medication. I take this medicine called Imuran. They put me on hydroxychloroquine, but I was having muscle spasms. It was causing me to have muscle spasms, so they took me off of that. And during COVID, it's kind of hard for me to get to my outside appointments. So when I come up for minimum custody in June, I was going to try to see if I could get out early so that I can get better medical care, because they need to put me on something that doesn't have a whole lot of side effects. With this Imuran that I'm taking, I take it 3 times a day, and it causes headaches, it causes nausea. Like I said, like this morning I couldn't even eat because my stomach was so upset. I lost like 10 pounds in the last 2 weeks because my stomach's been upset. So I've been trying to write. But I was told to wait till I get the minimum custody and try to write some people. I'm going to try that. Yeah.
All right, well, I'm sorry to hear about that, you know?
Yeah, I mean, like they say, I don't look like what I've been through. You know, looking at me, you would never be able to tell. And people like, what? You have what? Because I go outside and I walk 3 miles a day sometimes, and, you know, I don't let it stop me. I'm like April, she has MS, but she still runs and exercises too, so.
Exactly. That's the spirit you got to have, you know?
Yeah, you can't let life stop you. You got to keep going.
Exactly. So I want to welcome you to the Vibing with Don Vito show. And, I talked to April, and she was telling me that, telling me all about the case, and, and she told me you was there. And I said, I would like to get on the show and shed some light on her life right now and, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So, can you tell everybody what your name is, please?
Yeah, my name is Crystal Mangum. I'm from Durham. I was born and raised in Durham. I went to Hillside High School, but at the age of 18, I left Durham and I joined the military. So I was in the Navy for about 3 years, and I had 3 kids in the process of trying to figure life out, and that caused me to go into exotic dancing and everything, which led me to a whole different world that I wasn't expecting. With the violence and the things that I encountered. So I'm pretty sure a lot of people have heard about my case, but it's a lot of things that people don't know. The main thing that I really want people to know is that I was treated unfairly because of my race and because I was poor, basically. And I was taken advantage of. I was basically in the wrong place at the wrong time. I guess I'm probably getting ahead of myself. I don't want to. Maybe I don't want to overspeak. Or is there anything in particular that you want me to talk about?
Yes. Yeah, we're gonna get into what you're talking about. I want people to get a good understanding of how you was raised or how you came up and why certain things happen. You know, it's all about your story. You know, I'm not here to judge you or anything like that. I'm just here to shine a little light on your story and certain things you might want the public to know, like you said, that they don't know, because sometimes they don't put it in the news. They always most of the time they put the bad stuff and not some of the good stuff that could have happened or did happen in your life. So I want to get into that. But so when you say you were in the military and you got 3 kids and you got into exotic dancing, how was life as an exotic dancer? You know, trying to make a living for your kids and stuff like that.
Well, in the beginning, it was okay. I was making pretty good money. When I initially started exotic dancing, I went out with a guy that I met from high school named Milton, which I eventually met later on. He took me on trips to different clubs, and it was at a club in Hillsborough that I met a lady from the escort service, and she told me how I could make more money than what I was making. At the time, I was making about $300 or $400 a night, and I was working 3 nights a week. So I was averaging close to $1,000 a week. And at the time, I was going to Durham Technical Community College, and I was trying to study to be a nurse. I was just trying to work my way out of the situation that I was in. The guy that I was seeing left me with 2 kids and basically told me I was on my own. He was from a rich family. He was a rich kid. His dad was a retired LAPD, retired judge. He was a white guy. My first 2 kids are biracial. So early on, I experienced racism. At the time, I didn't know it was racism. I just saw it as an unfortunate situation that I found myself in. And the only thing that I really knew was how to survive. You know, I didn't really think at the time about the dynamics of everything, and that, you know, he was a white guy that really pretty much took advantage of me and just looked at me as just a poor black girl that he could just use and just throw away. So he left me with 2 kids, and I figured, okay, I'll do this escorting thing, and I'll try to earn as much money as possible so that I can get out and continue to go to school and become a nurse, support my kids. In the meantime, he's still behind in child support. At the time, he was something like $10,000 behind in child support. So I did about three or four gigs with the escort service, and the 4th gig was at a fraternity house, which at the beginning they told me it was a bachelor party with 3 or 4 guys. And when I got there, there were about 10 or 15 guys in the backyard, and so immediately, you know, I knew that there was something more to the situation than what I was told, because there was more than 3 or 4 guys, obviously.
Excuse me 1 second.
The other dancer
hold on 1 second. Was that at Duke University?
I'm sorry, yeah, it was on Duke campus. Yeah, it was at a fraternity house on Duke campus. But it was dark, and my driver took me, and I wasn't really paying attention to, even though I grew up in Durham, like they said Markham Street, I wasn't really paying attention. You have to really know me and like understand me to really know that I don't really pay attention to a lot of detail. I do now, but like at the time I was 24, 25. I wasn't really paying attention to like my surroundings. I took things for granted. Like I didn't equate Markham Street with Duke University. I just thought it's just another house on Markham Street, you know, with, and like I said, it was supposed to be a bachelor party. If they had told me it was a fraternity party, then maybe an alarm would have went off and said, well, okay, yeah, maybe this is associated with the university. But because they told me it was a bachelor party, I didn't really make the connection at the time.
Okay, so you said it was more people than you expected.
Yeah, I expected 3 or 4 guys. The lady at the escort service told me there was going to be 3 or 4 guys there, and when I got there, there was like they were drinking out of like plastic cups, and there was like 10, 15 guys, and there was one female in the backyard. Of course, when I got inside the house, there was even more guys there. There were maybe like 20 more guys inside. So I'm like, well, this is just like, we had no protection. And like I said, I took things for granted. Like now, like walking into that situation, like all kind of alarm bells would go off. Like, no, this is just not right. I got to get out now. But at the time, you know, I just took it for granted. Okay, I'm going to get in and get out. But, and then so many things went wrong. Like my driver went to sleep. He was supposed to come back and pick me up at 1 o'clock. It's supposed to be from 11 p.m. to 1 a.m. And he never came back. He went to sleep. So, and then they took my cell phone. So when they trapped me in the bathroom, I had no help. Like no one was there to help me. And I had been drinking. I drank like maybe 3 drinks before I got to the party. And then they gave me something at the party while we were in the bathroom. While we were changing, they were getting impatient, so we rushed out and we tried to perform, but they were so loud and like yelling at us and telling us to take our clothes off and just trying to tell us like what to do. Like we were like, you know, this is just shit. And then Kim, the other dancer, was like yelling back at them, and I'm trying to calm her down, and she's like, no, she's yelling at me, so it was just so chaotic. We ran back in the bathroom. So at that point, that's when we got separated, and I can hear her yelling and screaming outside, and they trapped me in the bathroom. And that's when they raped me inside the bathroom. At that point, they said that they couldn't find, like, they found semen, like, inside my underwear, but they said it didn't match anybody at the house because they rushed me to the hospital after it happened. They threw me in her car and took me to Kroger parking lot where the police took me to the rape crisis center, and then from there they took me to Duke Hospital. And when they did the rape kit, they said that the semen didn't match any of the players. But the thing is that they waited 3 days before they even searched the house. And a lot of people don't know that. Like, they were...
You have 60 seconds remaining.
Good.
All right, Crystal.
Hello?
Yes, I'm here.
So the DA, Mike Nifong, he was trying to pressure the police department to go in and investigate, and they were dragging their feet saying that the Duke campus police wouldn't let them go in. And Nifong was upset because he was saying that Duke police was running or was telling Durham police what to do. Like, he couldn't understand why they were following Duke's lead, and they were saying they couldn't overstep Duke's boundaries. So it took 3 days for them to sort that out. And in the meantime, they said when they got there, everything was cleaned up. So the DNA that they found, they said it didn't match. And then they said they found DNA that matched knife on my top or something. So the DNA was botched from the beginning. And then there started being stories about me changing my story, and they kept coming back to me and asking me, was I sure if they used their penis or did they use a broomstick or something? I said, well, I saw a broomstick handle, but I was, like, out of it. Like, I don't know what they used, but I just know that it hurt really bad. And so there started being stories about I don't know if I was raped, and they started twisting my words around, and it just became so confusing, and everything started playing out in the media. But at the same time, the police officers were telling me, don't worry about it. Everything's going to be fine. Don't talk to the media. They were telling me, ignore the media, don't talk to the media. And now I realize that it was being played out in the court of public opinion, but without me. Like, at the same time, the police weren't doing anything. So they were using the media against me, but they were telling me not to say anything. And then it all fell apart when they set up a meeting with the Attorney General's office in Raleigh, and I met with Mary Winstead and Jim Coleman and some members of the FBI, and they sat me down from like 8 o'clock in the morning to like 4 in the afternoon, and they basically grilled me on everything from like the color of the rug to what the guys were wearing, the shade of their eyes. Like, they were just asking me, and it was almost like I was not telling the truth because I couldn't remember certain things that had happened, and it was to the point where when I left there, I was almost in a nervous breakdown. At the point of a nervous breakdown, I had just had my baby because I was also pregnant at the time. So it's amazing that my baby actually made it because I was under so much stress.
So you were pregnant while you were pregnant at the time when they when the incident happened?
Yeah, I was pregnant by Matthew, the father of the guy that I was with at the time. They found out like 3 months into my pregnancy that I was pregnant, and they had me like basically stripped and took pictures of my naked body, and then they did it again when I was like 7 months pregnant. And looking back on that, like that was the most like private, the most humiliating thing that I experienced. Like there was just so many things that was just so wrong that went on that I don't even think were legal. And then the police officers were like laughing, like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna get them now. We're gonna have them all stirred up now." Like when they see these pictures. And then there started being rumors about the baby was lacrosse players. And then the media hype started up again. I started having to hide out and not being able to take my kids to school because they were in the kindergarten and first grade at the time, my youngest two. So it was a really, really stressful period for me. And then the charges ended up being dropped when Roy Cooper, after the meeting with the Attorney General office, Roy Cooper got on national television and declared him innocent. Basically, he said that I was unstable and that I kept changing my story, which none of those things were validated. And he also said that the DNA evidence was inconclusive, which they never showed proof of any of the DNA. They gave me back all of the things that they tested, which they shouldn't have done. Instead of keeping them as evidence, they gave them to me. the meeting with the AG's office was not recorded.
So pretty much they threw the case out.
They pretty much tried it in the media and threw it out. If it had gone to trial, I had a strong case. They would have attacked me, but there's no way that they would have been allowed to attack me anywhere close to the degree that the media attacked me. Because the half of the things that the media was saying were not true. Like, the media said that I was a drug user. I've never used drugs in my life. I've never been addicted to any type of drug. They said that I was bipolar. I've never been diagnosed with bipolar disorder ever in my life. They said that I was a bad mother. I've always been a single mother. My kids have been with me my entire life. They made up these fictitious names for my kids, and they put these fake pictures of my kids online that were not even mine. It was just so many things that the media did that were not true to make me look like a typical hood rat, you know.
So you think they did that because they were trying to protect the Duke Lacrosse team?
Oh, yeah, and they do it to black women all the time. I mean, it's just the typical stereotype of a black woman. I mean, you rarely see a black educated woman being stereotyped in the media, especially on the news.
Right.
I mean, it's just not seen. And then for a black woman to go against a educated white male, they have to make her look that way.
Right. And also,
what other way?
Duke is a prestigious type of a college. You know, they're known for, they're very strong in sports and stuff like that, as far as basketball. And their name alone, Duke, is a big name. You got a bunch of white boys, and you got one black girl, and they said this goes down and they get found innocent. You know, it could be real bad. So you didn't have what it sounded like to me. You didn't have a strong legal team to really go and fight for you, and also, you know, things they made things to not match to make you look like you didn't know what the hell you talking about. So now they try to expose you in the paper in a negative way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry to hear that. So how long was this case going on? A year or two?
It started in March of 2006, and it ended in April of 2007.
Okay, so they did it real fast. Okay.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
All right, so
they tried to get it out of Mike Nifong's hands because Mike Nifong did everything by the book. They tried to make him look bad and just take it out of his hands because he wouldn't try to cover things up, and he wasn't trying to side with them or take their money or bribes or trying to cover it up. He was trying to get to the truth.
Okay, so when they let the guys go and you went on with your life, so what happened with the baby? You were pregnant.
She's 14 now.
Okay.
She lives with her dad, and she's healthy. She was born 5 weeks early because of the stress and everything that I was under. But she's healthy now. She has asthma and eczema, but that's minor considering what she was up against. So, and my older two, they're doing good. They're with in California. They supposedly are staying with their dad, but he's not really there for them even now. They're more there for him than he is for them. But
so let me ask you a question.
They were in college.
You said they're in college?
They were in college, but they had to drop out to help them pay bills.
Okay. Question. So, how's your mom and pop? Are they still alive?
My dad passed away in 2010, and my mom, she has Alzheimer's. She lives with her sister, her older sister. This has been really, really hard on them because my mom especially knows the truth. You know, she knows that I really struggle with understanding how people can be so evil and just so cruel, and it's ironic because a lot of people say that I'm a liar, and I struggle to understand how people can so viciously say these cruel and untrue things about me. So it's really the reverse. You know, it's true. Like, they're lying on me and not me lying about them. So it's, and then when rich people are guilty, they get exonerated. But me, I'm innocent for defending myself against a man who tried to kill me now, and I'm sitting in prison, and I'm innocent.
Okay. So let's talk about that. So after the Duke Lacrosse incident, you had a boyfriend or something like that. What happened?
Yeah, there's a movie that's supposed to be coming out soon. This guy named Joe in Hollywood's working on a movie about a conspiracy where he thinks that Duke actually killed my boyfriend to frame me, to basically seal the deal, to prove that, to basically bolster their name, to prove that I'm a bad person. But yeah, so he was beating on me basically, and I stabbed him. He was going through alcohol withdrawal while in the hospital recovering from the stab wound. Okay, so the stab wound didn't injure any organs. They said it nicked his spleen. They repaired that with this thing called Surgicel. So basically he recovered from that. He was going through delirium tremens, and so Duke's staff put him to sleep, and they administered contrast down his throat, supposedly to try to check to see if he had an infection, because they said he was yelling and screaming incoherently, and they thought maybe he had an infection. They still don't have proof of exactly what he was saying or why they put him to sleep just because he was yelling. But anyway, they put him to sleep and put contrast down his throat. He choked on the contrast. Then they tried to revive him or resuscitate him, and they administered air into his stomach or his esophagus instead of his trachea.
You have 60 seconds remaining.
Into his esophagus, they cut off his air supply, and he died. When they put him to sleep and they administered the contrast, he choked and he stopped breathing. So once they cleared his airway, they put the breathing tube in his esophagus instead of his trachea. They said it was a mistake, and it was a fatal mistake, because whenever my doctor friend told me that whenever you intubate somebody in their esophagus, you have to open up their airway, because if you don't, you cut off all of their oxygen supply. So when they put the tube in his esophagus, they cut off all of his oxygen supply for 20 seconds, and he went brain dead. They did resuscitate him after they realized the mistake 20 seconds later, but it was too late. So he died, basically. And then he was on life support for 10 days after that. Meanwhile, I'm in county jail thinking that he's at home, recovering. I'm thinking that everything's fine. I'm not knowing that they're basically on life support. Because last time I saw him, he was chasing me through the woods. I was running for my life. So,
You said he was chasing you through the woods?
Yeah, he was choking me, and I stabbed him in his side to get him off of me. And when I got up to run out the door, he was running after me. And he chased me through the woods, and my friend's house was on the other side of the woods. And by the time I got to her door, I seen him running back the other way towards the house. And I guess we called the police at the same time. So I heard the police, the 911 call later on, and his cousin said, yeah, my cousin's been stabbed. It was the Crystal Mangum. And at that point, they sent like 30 police cars, and they just came and arrested me. They didn't ask me any questions. I tried to tell them that, he was beating me, and I was scared for my life, and they didn't care about any of that. They just said, come on, let's go. They didn't ask me any questions. Usually in a domestic violence situation, they ask questions. So,
right. So it was an assault charge that turned to a first-degree murder charge, correct?
Right. Because the reason it turned into a first-degree murder charge is because they went back 5 days later to confiscate a check that was written to the apartment complex that they found in my purse with his name on it. The apartment complex where we both live, they said that I stole the money order, but in the warrant it says that I stole $700 from him. So in order to get a first-degree murder charge, it has to be in the commission of another crime. So they basically called it robbery, saying that I stole the money order, and that's the reason why I stabbed him, which it had nothing to do. The reason why the confrontation began to start with was because he was jealous over a police officer that I was talking to in the parking lot that I had met about a year earlier that I had a relationship with.
So you had a relationship with a police officer?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yeah.
And wow. So how did I don't know, how did the community, or how did Reginald, or how did the people feel about that you were in a relationship with a police officer?
Actually, he testified at my trial. Him and the detention officer that I was friends with, they both testified at my trial. And I chose not to disclose that at that time because it would just muddy the waters and just not be a good thing. So,
so how much
that was the 14 to 18 years.
And how much time do you have in?
I've done 10 years. As of, like I said, in June I come up for minimum custody. So as of the 27th of February, I was at my 5-year mark. So I have under 5 years left.
Okay, you got under 5 years left. We're gonna put you in a camp or something like that, right?
I'm going to Swandanoa, which I think I said it's near Rocky Mount. Not Rocky Mount, Asheville. It's in the mountains.
Do you get good time? Stuff like that to cut the time a little shorter? Yeah,
and that's included already. I did 2 years in county. So that's already included. February 2026 is my release date. But like I said, I'm going to try to write to get released early based on my medical conditions.
Yes, with COVID, yes.
So, yeah.
So you're close to coming home. How you feel about that?
I feel really good. I just talked to my editor this morning, and I wrote a book called Last Dance for Grace, and they're trying to work on a movie based on that book. And then I have another movie coming out about the medical issues dealing with Reginald's death. And then I just wrote another book called History, Her Past, that I'm trying to get published through Amazon. So financially, I should be good. I'm just focused on getting out. I'm getting back with my kids. They miss so much time. You know, I've missed so much out of their lives, and they need me so much right now, especially my son. He's trying to be a man, and he's just struggling. He wants things to happen so fast, and I keep telling him, just take it one day at a time. He's like, Mom, I'm trying. I want you to get out, and I want to help you, and he's trying to be a man. So,
did anybody do a documentary or a movie on you yet?
No, not yet. That's what my editor's working on, that movie, Last Dance of Grace, based on the book that we wrote together. And then that other, like I said, the other movie that they're trying to do. But no, not yet. I'm working on it.
If you're interested, if you're interested,
I'm sorry.
I have some people who might want to be interested, and we could talk later on that.
Okay. Like, what would be your angle? Have you thought about it?
No, I guess we could talk once we get off this recording thing, you know?
Mhm.
We could talk.
Yeah, okay.
But meanwhile, so what did you do as far as, like, you know, to better yourself, like any educational stuff since you've been there?
I have my bachelor's in psychology, and I was working towards my master's in psychology when I got this charge. I want to finish getting my master's, but right now they have everything on hold because of COVID. But yeah, I want to eventually get my master's in psychology, and I also want to get a paralegal license because I want to work with young girls who have been victims of sexual abuse and keep them out of the system, or at least help them in their early stages in the system. That's my main focus right now. In the meantime, I'm working out, trying to stay in shape. I got up to like 165, but now I'm back at 150. So I want to stay at 150. I'm 5'4". I try to keep my dreads looking good, and I'm working right now, and I'm in a work release program with Correctional Enterprise. So we make about $1,000 every 3 months. That's pretty good for prison.
Mhm.
So I crochet. I'm learning how to knit. Like I said, I love to work out and stay in shape, keep in shape, try to keep my six-pack. You know.
Okay. That's
yeah.
Good. So how old are you now?
I got to compete with April.
April be working, right? She be working out.
Yeah. I'm 42.
Oh, so you'll be home before you're 46, 47. You're still young.
Yeah, I'm aiming for at least for next year. I'm gonna start writing. Like I said, as soon as June hit, I'm gonna start writing. I got some stuff lined up. I'm excited. So
you have my contact number. So if you're available tomorrow, give me a call tomorrow so we can talk.
Okay, I'll do that. It was nice talking to you, and I was like, it's just so overwhelming, like trying to put everything together. So I appreciate you helping me piece stuff together because it's frustrating.
Yeah, I can imagine. That's why I told April that, I wanted to talk to you and I wanted to interview you. It just lets you know a lot of time went by. You were young when it happened. You're more mature. You're older. You regret the things that happened. You want to start your new life and go on with your life. You said your kids are waiting for you and stuff like that. And sometimes when a lot of people they kind of lose people in the prison system. Like they treat you like you don't live. You're not living anymore. So for you to do this interview, it's going to shine a light on your life, and it's going to create some attention to who you are as a woman now. Opposed to what people were thinking
Yeah.
in the past. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm definitely trying to better myself, and there's definitely more educational opportunities in the future.
All right, so listen, great talking to you. Thank you for letting me interview you today. And like I said, if you could give me a call tomorrow somewhere around noon and stuff like that, we could talk about like a movie situation or documentary situation, if you like.
Okay, I'll do that.
And you know,
All right.
like April will
Thank
tell
you.
you, we already got her a situation going on right now, so it definitely can happen. Okay?
Okay. What's the name of your show again?
Vibing with Don Vito.
Okay.
All right?
All right.
If any questions, ask April. She can fill you in with everything. She knows everything. And you know, I'm gonna air it on our channel on YouTube and stuff like that. And we'll create some awareness and stuff like that. And then, you know, like I talked to you about, like doing the documentary stuff, we could talk, you know, once we get off the recorder tomorrow.
Okay. It's nice talking to you.
Nice talking to you. I appreciate you giving me your time, you know, and I can see a change in you from the way you're talking. Like you're talking very good, very positive. You grew up since you've been in prison. And as long as you believe in God, we all could be forgiven. Trust that. Trust and believe that.
Definitely. His mercy and grace. That's the only way.
Exactly. So you have a great day, and I'm going to talk to you tomorrow, okay?
Okay. All right.
All right, Crystal. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Have a good one.
Okay.